Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are watching us from. You are on to the program where we review major news that made headlines across southern Nigeria in the past week. My name is Amzat.
And I'm Louis. Stay tuned for our news review for today. And first on our news review for today, Cambridge University to return 116 looted artifacts. What's your take on that?
Wow, that's it's a very good news to hear because this is the first time we are hearing about the return of the looted artifacts after the controversy surrounding the MOA, Edo State government, and the palace of the Oba of Benin. However, like I said, it's a good news, it's a welcome development because if you recall this, the Oba of Benin, talking about Oba Ewari II,
Ní
uh,
Ogidigan,
Ogidigam, recall that during the time of the immediate past president, talking about late President Muhammadu Buhari, when he raised up the issue of the palace and the state government led by Golden Obaseki. We know the president then went as far as gazetting these artifacts, meaning empowering the Oba of Benin, talking about Buhari II, to be the owner, the custodian of these artifacts whenever they are returned to Nigeria. And fast forward to 2026, we are now hearing that these artifacts, 116 of these artworks, will be returned back to Nigeria. So we say it's a welcome development. And let's not forget, these artifacts, they are not bringing them straight to Benin. They will be taken received by the federal government. Some will be placed in the Lagos Museum and the Benin Museum. But again, right here in Benin, we are already talking about the Benin Royal Museum, which discussion started around 2017, 2018, but that never saw the light of the day following the controversy, like I started with, between the state government led by Golden Obaseki and the Oba Palace. So if these artifacts happen to come to Nigeria, so we are hoping that these artifacts we get to their rightful place, which is the Benin Kingdom, and will be held right there in the Benin Royal Museum, which we are hoping that will come to fruition because we have a good working relationship already with the federal government, the state government, and even the Benin Palace. Because as it stands, the Obaeware is still talking about the Benin Royal Museum.
the artifacts, the looted artifacts which is to be returned, which are to be returned, it's a good one. I really say at last we have been the Benin Kingdom is being vindicated because 1897 was a massacre. It's a year we can never forget in a hurry. So in fact, it was an unfortunate incident that happened as at that time. So now with Cambridge University returning this looted artifact, I believe we still have more. I believe with time, with this good diplomatic relationship, bilateral relationship we have with the UK authorities, I believe more of these looted artifacts will be returned. Now, the MOA, for the MOA issue that I've, in fact, that I've lingered on for so long as regards to the then government and the royal palace, I would say it was not necessary in the first place. But thank God we have a new government, the government by His Excellency Senator Mondo Pewolo, who knows, I believe he knows what to do, and he knows how to go about issues like that. But thank God the federal government is also involved. It's not just between the state government and the royal palace. I believe if these looted artifacts are returned, the federal government and the state government with the royal palace, they know what to do. There wouldn't be any issue or any rivalry between both parties. I believe both the parties are a good standing relationship as regards to this old issue. So where the looted artifacts are going to be placed, I believe that shouldn't be a challenge.
Exactly.
If it's placed in the Benin City Royal Museum, even if it's in Mowa, wherever it's placed, the most important thing is there should be proper guide, as there should be proper protection, that these artifacts are not relooted and these artifacts are in good condition. And even that artifact, wherever it is placed, it can serve as tourist attraction, because people can go there and see, like students can go on excursions, people can go visit and see this. So it must be placed in a place where people can go and see, and so it shouldn't be, once it is returned, it's not going to be public property. So wherever it is going to be, even if it's the Benin City Royal Museum, the MOA, or even if it's at the National Museum, I believe that shouldn't pose much of a problem. But what I believe is, based on the fact that these artifacts were looted from the Benin Kingdom, I believe it should be in Benin City. What is important is that there should be protection for these artifacts. That's all.
Exactly, because if I may have, like you just said, it should be in Benin City, whichever museum, and it should serve the people's interest, public interest, because gone are the days when we say this artifact rightful belongs to the palace. Yes, it's rightful belongs to the palace, but as it stands now, if these artifacts are coming, they are going to serve more or less about for public interest. That takes us to INEC. INEC have released timetable for the 2027 general election. Louis.
Yes, it's a good one, because according to the provision, the Electoral Act 2022, it's stipulated that the timetable should be released it should be towards a year before the general election. So INEC has acted in that in that line, and it's a good one. So I believe with that the electoral body, which is the INEC, we have a lot of time to be able to plan, schedule these elections, and it's not just about fixing date for this election. The INEC chairman, the person of Professor Joash Amukbitan, should ensure that this election should be a watershed. It should be something different from what we've been having in recent time, because I believe a lot of Nigerians, they always after election, we always hearing issue of irregularities, and a lot of Nigerians are always displeased with the electoral process. I believe what the person of Professor Joash Amukbitan should do in that regard, he should ensure a flawless election, a free, fair and credible election, because Nigerians, in fact Nigeria as a country, is investing so much, is putting so much to ensure that this election is free, fair and credible. So I believe with the time, with the schedule, or rather with the date for the election still being slated for next year, I believe there will be a lot of time for the electoral body to plan, prepare, and ensure that these elections are held without any issue of irregularity. If it's going to be, it should be very minimal. I understand we cannot have a perfect election, but to a very large extent, let's say
it should be an improvement from
it should be an improvement from what we've had in the past, considering the resources that is going to be going into this election. So the INEC should step up and do a perfect job. At least, like we said, it should be better off than what we've been seeing. So that's just what I believe the INEC chairman, the person of Professor Joash Amukbitan, should have in his mind at this point in time.
Exactly, it is not only INEC, also the various political parties
Yes.
should also have time to
That's
plan
true.
for their primaries. For primaries are going to the election, plan for their campaigns or their manifesto strategy if they don't have one before now. However, I think the time has come for INEC to announce the timetable for general election come 2027, and this is in line with the Electoral Act. If you recall, we talked about this in our previous episode of this our weekly review of major news that made the headlines when we were trying to debunk rumor about information or update on the coming general election, which INEC have severally debunked. But good that they are coming out to inform Nigerians because the time has come. Because they are going to the Electoral Act stipulate that 360 days before the general election, that's when INEC need to announce the timetable, and Joash Amakotan led Independent National Electoral Commission have just done right there, and they have done the needful, and they've announced that. I think, it's, like you said, it is not just about announcing a date for the general election or the timetable for the general election. There should be a plan to ensure we have a major improvement so that Nigerians will once again have confidence in the electoral process. Not after every electoral cycle, you see people try to complain to say no, this election in this place never went well.
Elections always marred with litigation.
Irregularities, confusion, chaos everywhere. But we just hope that going forward, we will not going to experience such, considering, like you said, the resources that the federal government have made available for INEC to execute their duties. And let's not forget, in the course of the timetable, INEC announced February 20th as for National Assembly and the presidential election.
On March 10.
No, March 6th.
March 6th, yeah.
For the governorship and House of Assembly election. This does not include states like Anambra, Edo, Ondo, Osun, and Bayelsa. And again, INEC tried to inform Nigerians that we'll be needing close to ₦1 trillion to execute a general election. Or believe whatever INEC is requesting is due them, should be provided for them so that they can as well carry out discharge their duties as stated in the electoral act going forward, because we have too much complaint about the electoral process. So we want an all-inclusive process whereby no Nigerian will be disenfranchised. And mind us, let's not forget that in the course of the announcement, there were concerns about the Muslim holy month of Ramadan, if you recall, because next year the Ramadan is going to kick off precisely February 8th to end March 10th. And there are concerns in that circles, and that have prompted the INEC to issue a statement which I shared with you, that yes, we know there are concerns about that, but going forward before the 2027 election proper, they are going to make arrangements to accommodate whatever observations must have been arisen in the course of the announcement for the timetable general election. So I think that's a good one for INEC, trying to ensure that regardless of whatever activities that may want to go on in the during the period of the election, that will be taken into consideration to see what will be accommodated to ensure a smooth process. Because if you remember, INEC is trying to emphasize on inclusivity, that nobody will complain, or no one will be left behind, irrespective of the arrangement. They just want an inclusive process where everybody will have the opportunity to exercise their franchise.
Yes, like you said, I understand you talked about INEC. You see, looking at the costs of election for INEC, I would say you made a statement that irrespective of the cost, it's to an extent it's due to them, because the electoral process requires funding, which the National Assembly members also stressed. They stressed that irrespective of the amount that the INEC are requesting, or that the INEC are proposing, though it's also good that funds are well injected into for the election. So
Yeah.
because but they went further to say that the INEC should ensure that the funds are well appropriated, are well spent. Now, I took a look at elections we've been having for the past 24 years, and the Nigerian government have spent, or rather allocated, over 950 billion for the past 24 years as cost of running elections in the country. And this INEC chairman, the present INEC chairman, the person of Professor Joash Amukwita, is calling for 837 billion naira. That is over a trillion, and even much more than what the INEC has spent on election for the past 24 years. If you look at from where we are coming from, you see that it's a very big difference, and it's quite huge. A lot of persons are saying, why spend so much money on elections? It's huge if the electoral process is still going to be flawed. So I would say, with this kind of money, or rather with this kind of proposal from the INEC, I don't expect the INEC to give us an election that is flawed. I don't know why we are still talking of network unable to get a real-time result with this kind of cost.
When you are investing such
So
a huge
it's
amount,
it's huge, bro. So we are not supposed to be talking of if you are going to be having network failure. This is huge. Taxpayers' money, over close to 1 trillion for election, and you are still telling us they are going to be they might be network glitch. How come? What's going on? No, it's impossible for us to even have such thoughts, because that money is enough to put everything in place.
Exactly.
So I'm really looking at what the INEC are talking about, where they are going to be spending all of this money, talking about operational costs, talking about administrative costs, talking about technology costs, capital expenditure, and talking about miscellaneous expenses. Now, with all of this, you see that the money, in fact, where the money are going to be spent on technology, allocated for technology. So from that 807 billion, we are supposed to solve that issue of technology. Operational costs, it means that money should be enough to put everything in place. So there shouldn't be any need of saying, should the case this doesn't work. With that kind of money, no, we shouldn't even think of that, because that cost for the election is supposed to cover everything, and it's supposed to ensure a flawless election without technological glitch.
Also, in the week under review, Makoko, Truce at last, after resident and Lagos State government agree.
When we looking at the issue of Makoko, I believe the government, they've been able to sit and reason this issue, because you can't fight the people, because it's all about the people. So fighting the people, or trying to bring laws that the people are not in tandem with, is going to pose chaos like it did. And now I thank God that the Lagos State House of Assembly have been able to set up an ad hoc committee to look into the issue, and this truce, I believe, is going to bring peace to Makoko, and they've made it clear that they are not destroying, there's nothing like full demolition of Makoko just for just for some areas, especially those close to the power lines. And so they try to make sure for safety. They did it for safety. But I believe if they had done this at the very start, at the very beginning, before the demolition, we wouldn't have had issues like this. And they also set up a 10-man committee to look at the area of compensation. And they also made it clear that the occupants, or rather the people of the Makoko residents, should ensure they don't build
On those demolished
on
properties.
those demolished properties. So that is a good one. And also the water regeneration, or rather the water city project.
Yeah.
So they made it clear that it is for sanitation and to help the people also as well, because it's going that place is that water city project is going to sanitize the area and also help the people as well. So they made it clear how the water city project is going to impact the residents, and I believe this is going to be a very good one. It's going to bring peace at the end. So now the people of Makoko can now be relaxed and they feel free that knowing fully well that their city is not going to be the Makoko city is not going to be demolished. And also the fishermen in those areas were also told that they shouldn't worry, because normally we understand that the Makoko is known for fishery. So, and that water city project is going to enhance their fishing, the fishing occupation of these people. So I believe that's a good one. It's going to really bring peace to residents in this area. So with the government coming in and calling out the resident for a meeting and like trying to know what they want, and both of them coming up together, like reaching a truce, I believe is going to help the people in the long run, because this is what we've all wanted and this is what we've clamored for at the very beginning when we started talking about this Makoko demolition. So I believe the government have listened to our plea, and they've seen how displeased the citizens are and the civil societies. So they've been able to come out and bring the people to the table. And I believe this is a good one for the people of Makoko.
It's a good one for Makoko, good one for
For the
Lagos
Lagos
State,
State government,
because
yeah.
this has lingered for a very long time.
Yeah.
Recall, like you said, we talked about this when this issue of Makoko demolition was started. We recall that we call on the state government led by Wadide Sowolu to ensure that the people confess. And fast forward to now, I think that what the state government have rightly done. And coming to a truce, it really shows that they mean business, so that the people of Makoko can put themselves together. Because if you recall, the reason for the demolition in the first place, like the Lagos State government cited, talking about safety and sanitation purpose, and they've done all that. So they promised people that they are not going further with demolition. But the people are still saying that yes, we welcome this development, but those that were affected in the demolition, there should be what we call an immediate compensation, so that they can have where to put their head pending when this regeneration process that have to do with this water city project finally materialize. Because at the stand now, the victims of the demolition, most of them, like what they raised is that they are homeless. Some they don't have what they are doing because of that exercise. However, I think it's a welcome development that we are now hearing of a truce at last. That will not be hearing of demolition, will not be hearing about protest. Now is for those affected to heal, to build back their lives with the help of with the aid of the state government. So I believe it's a welcome development, and they should build on that and ensure that whatever agreement that was entered into with the people should be implemented. None should be reneged on. The state government led by Babajide Sanwo-Olu should ensure that the people are not shortchanged.
Yes.
What is really due them should be given to them,
Yes.
especially that agreement entered into.
Yes,
must be
and if
implemented.
you and sorry to interrupt, presently now there's no clear timelines as regards to the compensation
Exactly.
for victims of the demolition. So I believe the government should be open and be transparent
In that
in
aspect.
in that regard. So because the occupants, or rather the people who the victims of the demolition, they ought to, in fact, they have to be well compensated.
Exactly.
Because I believe this should be part of their social protection plan for 2026, as which they just said.
Okay, the 140
put
billion.
into the
Exactly.
so they should start with the residents of Makoko, because those persons, or rather those individuals, they need to be well compensated, and the government should expedite action in that regard. So
That takes us to River State, where Fubara have dissolved the River State Executive Council, Louis.
yes, like we said earlier, we've been talking about River State. We've talked about River State for umpty times on this program, and I believe that what I've always stressed on was the fact the president should intervene, because I know the president has the final say as regards to this matter, because Wike
An appointee.
is an appointee, and who is working for him, and I believe Wike must hearken to the call of the president when he calls. So I understand that until this time, the president probably is just watching. He's watching he's just trying to watch the situation and see how he can come in. But I believe he's been able to come in, and I see progress is already made, because looking at the Ezeoshi Owunka, the chief press secretary to the state governor, made it clear, where he stressed that all appointees, or rather all dissolved offices should go and like
Should hand
should
over
hand
to-
over to their
yeah.
permanent secretaries. So I was like, wow, it's a good one, because whether you like it or not, this is politics at play, because as it stands now, there's going to be a reshuffling of cabinet, which will start very soon. So I believe this already has we shove aside the whole plan of impeachment. So I believe impeachment process is long gone.
It's off the card.
It's off the card, so there's nothing like
Yeah.
impeachment process. So
Yeah, if you recall, over the weekend, Wike instructed the Martin Amaolele, the River State Assembly, to do the needful.
yeah,
Maybe to withdraw whatever
Yeah,
impeachment
certainly.
and cooperate with the executive,
Yes,
led
that's
by Siminalayi Fubara, who had just announced the dissolution of the State Executive Council. Well, recall in this program, while we discuss Rivers State political brouhaha, we always recommend deployment of political solution
Yeah.
to resolving this whole crisis.
That's
It's as if they were listening to us, talking about President Bola Ahmed Tinubu,
Yeah, perhaps.
yes, on Wike, and Siminalayi Fubara talking about the governor of Rivers State, and the Amata only led the Rivers State as assembly members, that they were listening to us, watching us, and we thank God they've communicated in this whole political solution that has now led to Fubara, the governor, dissolving the executive council. We believe that will bring about peace.
Yeah,
I
totally.
think it's a welcome development,
Yeah, it's a
because
welcome one.
recall that the president called for a meeting of some elders from River State, where we have yes, on Wike, the FCT minister present, we have the governor talking about Siminalayi present, and ensure that the whole issue that have led to the impeachment move are brought to a rest, so that River State will once again experience peace beyond the state of emergency.
Yeah.
Because as it stands now, it is clear that River State is ready to once again embrace peace. So that Fubara, well, when he was in the river, after the meeting with the president, the Asuro, he left with the FCT minister to his residence right there in Abuja. So I think that's for that signal peace, that for that signal unity, that we are no more at war. We are now on the path of peace. So I believe if River State people are seeing that, are following the development, I think by now their mind will be at rest. They cannot have a breath sigh of relief that our state will once again experience peace.
And,
So
and as at this time, it's very important that that this peace talk is held, because you know the elections, by elections, is
just next week.
just next week. So there's need for that, because if not, we are going to have issues. We are going to be having political turmoil,
Exactly.
and it's going to be exacerbated again, because it's the politics will be much more heated. So the president has stepped in at the right time, and I
Exactly.
believe this is this truce between, or rather this peace talk, is going to be a very very good one. And it's all I say, it's already breathing, it's already, yes, it's already bringing a breath of fresh air.
Lastly, Edo State government BEDC collaborates for improved power distribution.
Yes, it's a very good one, because like I said, you see, this collaboration is very important, because power is very fundamental to life, to business, and to, in fact, a state, or rather an environment without electricity is in fact, is a big issue. So I love the fact that the government was able to bring the BEDC, the person of Engineer Lawani, and the Honorable Commissioner for Power, the person of Paul Lusembo, who said the government is committed to ensuring 24 hours power supply. So the meeting with the stakeholders, where they talked about metering system, how they can build on the infrastructure. So for the BEDC to try to see how they can relate with the stakeholders as regards to the problem we are facing when it comes to power in Edo State, I believe it's a good one. It's a good one, because it's going to bring improvement. So what I want the BEDC to do, they should also try and build on what they have now, and see how they can increase power, because Edo State is going through a lot. So I believe after this meeting, they must have been able to come to a round table and see how they can improve upon what they are delivering at the moment. So
Exactly, because whatever collaboration Edo State government will be going to with BEDC, they should ensure they put these small, medium enterprise to cognizance, because there are small businesses that are springing up that rely more on electricity. You know, they don't have alternative power supply beyond the BEDC. So there is need for government to have that in the back of their mind when they are having whatever collaboration they are having with the BEDC. Because why? For too long, those states have suffered epileptic power supply, which have crippled most businesses, especially small businesses. Because this time in those states, we need power, and the state government, they now have the power, since power being decentralized, so they now have power to generate electricity, to transmit and distribute. So working with BDC at this time, I think is the right call. But most especially, we must consider small businesses. We must consider, or we should go as far as even creating an industrial area with this collaboration. That industrial area to encourage small businesses to go there and set up, so that they can have the reliable power supply. Whatever businesses or they want to pursue that rely on power. So I think it's a welcome collaboration. So they should build on that, to build on what they've achieved in the past as regarding BDC, so that power distribution in Edo State will be top notch. Electric power supply will be a thing of the past, because we really need stable electricity. That's all we have for our program for this week, talking about review of major news that made the headline. So we say, yeah, bye.
thank you. Bye for now.